The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us. Simply go stewart.com/radio. That's right. If you want to hear and see this show again, simply go to stewart.com/radio, and you can also find past shows, YouTube videos, all kinds of great things. And thank you again for joining us on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We're excited that you're here. If you're new to the show, we hope you enjoy it. We have super guests. We're going to talk today a lot about money, a lot about mortgage. We have guests from the mortgage world right here today. In addition, we have a real estate professional. We're going to find out the latest in the real estate market. So let's get down to business right now as we welcome our first guest. Her name is Jen Ray. Her company is called Guaranteed Rate. Jen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Well, here you are. Once again, it's been a while since you've been on the show.
It has been.
You indeed are in the mortgage world, in the money world, and your company's called Guaranteed Rate. Let's tell people about your company.
Okay, well, Guaranteed Rate is a mortgage company. They basically hold my license. So I am your lender. So you use Guaranteed Rate, but you're essentially using Jen Ray. We do all types of loans. We offer any of the types of needs that you have, because obviously everybody's experience with their purchase is different than anybody else. So we suit for you.
We suit for you.
Yeah.
I like that. And I also like the name. Your name has, I think, a distinct advantage, Jen Ray. It sounds like there's a lot of energy going on just when you introduce yourself.
Right. It's kind of like just a one. People think it's one name.
It
like
could
Jen
be,
Ray,
right? Almost like here we are in the world of generators.
Zendaya? No, Jen Ray.
A lot of people have been talking about generators. So Jen Ray.
Jen Ray.
You have a lot of energy. So in addition to your company being super, let's tell people the area that you cover now. And where's your office, by the way?
My office, well, my actual official office is in Sugar Land and in Houston, but I home base in League City. So I cover a lot.
That
a
is a
little
big
triangle of, places up north, places down south, Galveston, Harris.
In fact, as I looked on the internet this morning, I saw that Sugar Land. There you are, Sugar Land in League City. First of all, a lot of us are not that familiar. Well, at least I'm not, so I don't know about anybody else. A lot of us are not familiar with League City. Let's tell people a little bit about the marketplace in League City and what's going on there.
Okay, so League City is in the Clear Lake area. So League City is a little further south. When you think of League City, there's more water prevalent by you. There's a lot of up and new construction, so people are kind of coming in by the drove. So there's a lot of people moving to our area. So we have kind of a hot market. Values of houses usually appreciate over time very quickly in the League City area. So League City, Friendswood, places like that, Pearland even.
Now, would you attribute that to the water,
the water is always a good
recreational
pull.
feel and that environment?
Yes, so we're very close to not necessarily the ocean, although the ocean is very close because we're about 30 minutes from Galveston itself. But we're behind the island, so we have like the bay and the bayous and all the water that you can enjoy without mainstream oceanfront.
And for those listening outside of Houston that have not been here, we have a lot of diversity in terms of atmosphere. Yeah. We have places like League City, Galveston by the water. We have places in the woods, even like the Woodlands even.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're into nightlife, you can enjoy the nightlife. If you're into the outdoorsy areas, you can enjoy that. You can enjoy water. You can enjoy the concrete jungle, if that's your thing.
We're in the concrete jungle right now. As I'm looking out the window, I see concrete, tall buildings. So as far as, let's talk a bit about the differences, say, from your office, if there are any, that is, from Sugar Land to League City in the mortgage world. What do you see? Is there anything different about the way the transactions play out?
Well, based on location, always the difference, because every transaction is based primarily, your loan is primarily based on your location specifically, because obviously you can get approved for a purchase amount, but if you buy in Sugar Land as opposed to League City. The taxes are very different. The insurance is very different.
League City's higher or lower?
League City, well, when you're closer to the water, you're about 1%. You're a little higher, your insurance coverage.
Oh, wow.
Because you got to have wind and hail the closer you are to the water.
There's a difference right there. Yeah. And that's as we potential buyers need to consider so many things, interest rates, price of the home. Hey, how about the price of insurance?
Yes, you enjoy the water, but you have to be safe.
We have to be safe and put all things in together when we consider that home purchase. So, we know the rates have been going up here lately.
They are.
So how is that, just the general aspect of them going up a little bit at a time, how's that been affecting your business? If any, are you seeing any change there?
I think we would be silly to say that people aren't affected. Everyone's affected. So everybody's kind of hard hit with the rise in interest rates. Also, the market, people are giving more for homes. So, it can absolutely make things difficult for any buyer. So people giving more for homes than they were a couple years ago, and people also having a higher interest rate, there might be a difference in $30,000 to $50,000 difference in what you can actually afford right now.
And let's tell people of all the things you could be doing in the real estate profession or even in life in general. How is it that you found yourself in the money part of the real estate profession?
By chance, which is always how it works out for people. So I don't think that that's a far-fetched thing to say.
Huh?
I think a lot of people get in by chance, but I stayed because I happened to really, really enjoy it, and I became really, really good at it. So I got into it by chance and kind of stayed just because I like it and I'm pretty good at it.
To me, I'm not familiar except for talking to real estate professionals in the mortgage world, realtors, those things. But one of the things I look at someone in the mortgage, it seems like certainly realtors need to have an eye on detail, the contracts, all those things. But when it gets down to the money, it's almost like there's more intricacies and perhaps more challenges. So you have to be that right individuals to do this. How do you keep your eye on the ball and help your clients through these many details and the requirements and having them bring forth documentation, timing, right?
Yes, timing,
Tell us your secret there.
So the secret is I choose my partners and I rely on my partners, but I choose them very wisely. So relationships in the industry that we're in the whole real estate itself, your relationships between people you use for insurance, your relationships with the realtors you use, even with title company like Stewart.
Like Stewart Title.
Right? There's a lot of upfront things that are done that make the job for closing a little easier. And obviously we all have our niche, right? The realtor knows house. Title knows, are there liens on your house? Is it clear? Insurance knows what's it going to take to cover. And then I know all the money side. So it's good to have your partners who know what they're doing. And not to say stay in their lane, but they know what they're good at and they bring that forth. And then the team together really makes it all that much different for the process of purchasing, especially in a hard market now, because getting the best offer, it takes all of that. It really does.
And when you're helping, let's say, a couple or even individual that has not purchased a home in the last, 5-7 years, what are some of the things that you tell them right up front, how things have changed to be ready?
Oh, that's a good one.
To be ready for the changes to go through this mortgage experience.
Okay. I'm so glad you asked that question.
I'm glad, too. I'm glad that you like that.
I'm so glad. That's really good. So 5 to 7 years ago, we didn't need nearly as much that we asked for. So every year we're asking for more items. And as annoying as it can be. I
was going to say, just one more thing. What else do you want?
As annoying as it is, we do hate asking for it because we know it annoys you, but it's really looking out for you specifically. We don't want to put you in a situation that could be costly to you. We don't want to put you in a situation that could bring major, could be hard on your family. So the documentation to verify everything is correct that I have in your application, meaning there is no way that this person's ever going to have a problem making this payment.
Almost
for
like
30 years.
Almost like a parent to a child. It's for your own good.
Yes. You'll thank me.
How many times did you hear that?
You'll thank me when you pay
up?
it off.
Right. So the other thing I like to ask mortgage professionals is that when you have, let's say, the last 10 people that have been filling out an application or talking with you about a mortgage, what are you finding is the average down payment they're placing? Let's say in the last 10 clients?
To be honest, my second-time home buyers put a lot more.
More than 20%?
Sometimes it just depends. But your first-time home buyers, there's a huge misconception. You do not have to put 20% down. You just don't. Like you can, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as little as 3%. FHA is always 3.5%. VA, you don't have to put anything down. Yeah, I have a VA loan. I didn't put anything down on my house.
You were in the service?
My husband was.
There you go. Well, if he's listening,
63 Tango, baby.
We thank him for his service and any other veteran that is listening.
And all the veterans out there. Thank you so
serving.
much.
That is awesome. So, okay, let's tell people we have about 2 minutes left. What else do you want them to know about your business, your company, or how you're helping your clients?
What I would really like you to take away from this is the importance of me to you is making sure that you understand the process and you have all of the information available to you. So sometimes it might seem like a lot of information, and it is, but the more information you have, you can question and you can ask, but if you don't know the questions to ask because you don't have any information, my job to you is null and void. So I'm going to take your application, look at where we're at, how much money do we have to spend, how much money are we putting down, do we need help from a gifter, what are we looking to purchase, where are we looking to purchase, what kind of jobs do we have, are we self-employed? I'm really going to have a thorough application so I can look at everything you got and tell you, look, with this application and your specific needs, these are the options that'll be good for you, and this, and you tell me what you want to do.
We're talking with Jen Ray with Guaranteed Rate. Give us an idea from the first time someone calls you up, let's say that you didn't know before, they call you up and they say, Jen, hey, I heard you're on the radio, I'm going to apply for a loan. From that moment, how long is it until they know how much, and assuming that they're bringing forth the information promptly and right away, maybe they're even prepared, but from that moment they say, hello, I want to apply for a loan, how soon do they know how much they're going to be qualified or pre-qualified for?
Very good. And
is that another good question?
Look at you. You know what? Your verbiage, your vocabulary is good. I like this. So pre-qual different than pre-approval. Pre-qual literally takes 5 minutes once I have your application, but a pre-qual is based on what you say.
Okay.
Pre-approval, I'm going to say, okay, get me your W-2s, get me your pay stubs, get me your assets, get me your bank statements.
Awesome.
And then, so it just depends on how long it takes to get the docs. But pre-qual, in 5 minutes.
Well, so far I've been asking you good questions.
Yeah.
I've met your approval for that.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
You did this good last time, too.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope I improved just a little bit. We're talking with Jen Ray, Guaranteed Rate. And Jen, let's tell people, there are people right now that want to reach out to you. How can they reach you?
Oh, goody. Okay,
Another good question.
No, that was good, yeah. 678-939-6564. That is my cell phone. You can text me. You can call me. My email is Jen with one N, JEN.Ray, R-A-Y, at rate, RATE.com. 678-939-6564.
Thank you, Jen Ray.
Thank you, Bill. Okay.
And let's talk to a real live real estate professional. Her name is Lori Long with RE/MAX Space Center. That's right, Space Center right here in Houston. Lori, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's one of the things that we have a space component. First of all, here in Houston, Texas, that maybe Florida has and some other places, but it's still a huge distinction. Let's tell people about your company, RE/MAX Space Center.
Well, I'm in the Clear Lake area. I've been with this particular broker for almost 10 years now, and I absolutely love the area that I'm in. Very close to NASA Space Center, very close to the Kemah area and Clear Lake, all of Clear Lake through Friendswood. We do have a very tight-knit water community, as we spoke about earlier, and NASA brought in a lot of clientele and a lot of homes in that area, and now we have very diverse.
Well, I think what's interesting, too, when we think about, people know the Johnson Space Center, the NASA Space Center, but also there's some other things like Ellington Field, and the things that are happening in that area are unlike what are happening in other parts of the country, but also from the real estate standpoint, that helps your business in a great way. And probably these people need help from real estate professionals like yourselves in a major way.
Yeah, at Ellington, we have a lot of the Air Force personnel in the Marine base station, so we have a lot of travelers coming through.
Well, Remax Space Center. So let's give us an idea. And is that actually in Clear Lake?
Yes, sir.
So that's the
it's
actual
in the Clear
address.
Lake area, right in between Webster. Now, Clear Lake is right in between Galveston and Houston. So we have access to the Galveston beach area. We have close proximity to Houston, right in the middle. I've lived in this area for about a few years now, about 20-something years.
You live in Clear
and
Lake?
I love it, yes.
Now, are you on the water?
Very close to the water.
Oh.
I love the water.
So as far as a real estate professional, and there's many right here in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Texas. I forget what the last count was. There's people that have real estate licenses, and then there's those that practice. However, there's a lot of them. However, in your area, I bet you get a lot of phone calls, not just from the Houston area, but even outside where people say, hey, Lori, I want to be near the water.
They do.
How often does that happen?
Oh, every day almost.
Every day.
Yeah. A lot of people that live in our area have lived here for a very long time. Or we have people that come in and visit and love it, and just because we're a very tight-knit community as well. We have little communities along the water that we ride around in golf carts.
That's
and
what I
we're
like.
just- yeah, it's just, everybody's comfortable and relaxed, and it's not the busy hustle and bustle that you get up in the city, but you're close enough to the city to get wherever you need to go. So
I would think also you have the people wanting their primary home.
correct.
But in addition, you probably sell a few condos that are near the water, on the
do.
water, and that sort of thing. So
We do.
you have to be, as the real estate professional, knowledgeable about the inventory that doesn't stay on the shelf too long, I guess.
Not at all. Not at all.
But if there is someone out there, let's take that example. I want to buy a property on the water. They call you up today, let's say. How do you approach that? Do you already know what's on the market and how to? And let's say what's the price point? What's a good price?
Well, depending
500,
on-
600? How much
Depending
do I
on
need?
which area, if you're looking on the bay or you're looking on the lake.
Let's say I have 600,000. I said, Lori, can I buy anything on the water for that price? 600.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's the great thing about the Clear Lake area is there's smaller homes that are just regular suburbs homes that have access to the water, have access to boat ramps, and you can go right down the street and walk down the pier and put your fishing pole in, or they also have $1 million homes. It's a very diverse area, so we have something for everyone.
I could bring my golf cart down to the pier and all that. See, I like
Absolutely.
that. So then you buy the home, and then you probably know where to send them. Hey, now that I'm here, Lori, I need a golf cart
You
too.
definitely need a golf cart. In some areas, they don't even believe in cars. So you can go to all the little restaurants, and everybody's just hanging out together.
Well, like you said, it's a community, and it does, like a lot of places around the United States, there's certain cities and certain areas, I'm thinking right now totally different, but I'm thinking Laguna Beach, California, that when you're there, there's a whole different vibe.
There's definitely a different vibe
And you
in
have
the Clear
that there
Lake
in
area.
the Clear Lake area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As far as I mentioned the word inventory, sometimes that's scary. I know it's changing now a little bit, but is there inventory right now, whether we want to be on the water or elsewhere in the Clear Lake area? How hopeful can we be?
Well, as we all know, we're in a very hot market. So the inventory can be pretty scarce. So I think the most important thing for my buyers is that we're prepared and we're ready and we're active and we're on top of it and we're moving fast. I think the most important for the buyers is to have everybody, as far as for my company, we have to have everybody in place. We like to have a good team put together so we know what everybody needs and to make it easy for our clients to be able to find the perfect home and obtain it quickly without a lot of running around and paying extra money that's unnecessary. There's a lot of other tricks to the trade than just paying $20,000 over like a lot of people are doing right now, unfortunately.
That is happening, not
It
all
is.
around the country, actually, but that's one of the things as a buyer I would try to avoid, like most buyers
Absolutely.
would. So that's where the real estate professional even comes into play in a very important way.
Very important way. I think the market is crazy, as we know, and it's been very high for a while, which is great for the sellers. But there's a misconception for the sellers that we think we're going to get an outrageous amount of money, and we list it here, and this is what it's going to sell for. But really, in reality, the way to get it to closing and the way for everyone to be happy is for everyone to be on the same page. Make sure everyone is taken care of and all needs are met for all parties. It can't be a win for one and a lose for another to make it to the closing table. So the most important thing for that, I believe, is communication with the agents, the lenders, the inspectors, the insurance, the title. All of us together, it is our job to make it easier for our clients to obtain homeownership.
Okay, so let's go back to the example. Let's go back on the water. I like that idea, and I think people that are listening to are envisioning they may not want to live on the water, but they can go through this exercise with us. So I want a home on the water. I call you up. I'm pre-approved, and I say, because that'd probably be one of the first things you ask. Hey, are you pre-approved? And I say yes, and I have. Let's take the $600,000 number. I have that much I want to spend. Lori, what should we do now? Are you going to look at homes in that range? You know where to look. And let's say I don't even know. I might be from Arizona, and someone said Clear Lake's the place. I want to be on the water. Tired of the desert. So what do we do next? I
think the first question, as far as what you enjoy on the water, do you enjoy just looking at the bay?
Yes.
The peaceful, the sound, or do you enjoy jumping in your boat or in your jet ski in the middle of the day, without having to work on it? There's different areas and different desires. We have Galveston Bay, we have Clear Lake, we have Galveston. We have different areas of the water. So I think it would really depend on your personality, your needs, as which direction we would go. But obviously we would look everywhere. So
and
then
find
at
that point
one.
you would find, I'll say, hey, I might want Galveston, also Clear Lake, and then you give me a little bit of a selection, and then we're going to go out and look at that home. And hopefully, how do we act where we make sure it's still available? I mean, what sort of pace are we working at these days? Because I know time's of the essence, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you right off the bat.
We're going to jump on it, right?
It's my job, first and foremost. If there's a slight interest or if I think that it might be the right house for you, the first thing I'm doing is reaching out to the other agent and letting you know that quick, immediately, even before we see it. I want to know what you've got going on it. Is it available? Give me the insurance. Give me everything that I need to give to my client so they can be prepared to make a decision quicker than we would really want them to. There is a sense of urgency right now, unfortunately, and I know that puts a lot of our buyers in an uncomfortable situation, but I think it's my job to prepare them for that and allow them to understand that it is still a process. You don't have to go out and sign the papers on the dotted line today, but you do want to make sure that that we're competitive, but we're also important for the buyer to get what they need. So.
I would think also, as I'm thinking about it, as we've been in sort of a frenzied market for the last few years, real estate professionals like you and others are kind of used to working the buyer and navigating them through these challenges. So you're probably really good at it, huh?
I'd like to think so.
Someone might want to call you right now.
Let's call it.
There you go. So in the meantime, of all the things you could be doing, you say you love real estate.
I love it.
What is it that has drawn you into real estate? Why do you like it so much these many years later?
I believe for me, it's the relationships that I build. I believe the most important part of my business is the relationships that I build. This is a huge decision for families, for retirees, for, children, their very first home and, starting their life off. It's a big decision. So you need the right people in place to help you with that and to guide you. It's not just about going and, hey, buy this house and see you later. It's, you're making a decision. I will be there from beginning to end and then even after the fact. I have lifelong clients that I consider friends.
Yeah.
It very much is. It very much is. It's to see the smiles on their face. And I've had, children of past clients reach out to me years later and say, yeah, I remember you and this is what I want to do now. And it's a wonderful feeling and I enjoy it. I enjoy every minute of it.
We're talking with Lori Long, RE/MAX Space Center. And speaking of children, you brought a child here today.
I did.
That doesn't happen that often. Let's tell people, what's her name?
Her name is Brinley. She's my sweet stepdaughter.
She's waving at us right now.
She's here for the summer to visit, and she wanted to come see you.
Well, let's tell people how they can reach out to you, Lori Long, RE/MAX Space Center.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And my phone number is 832-655-2844. And my website and email would be Lori@LoriLongRealty.com. And Lori is spelled old school way, Laurie. So that's Lori@LoriLongRealty.com. 832-655-2844.
Thank you, Lori Long, for being
Thank
on
you,
the
Bill.
show.
Thank you so much.
Let's continue to talk money as we have Chris Kelso with the Kelso Group powered by APM.
How you doing, Bill?
Did I get that right?
You got it perfect. Absolutely.
APM.
APM, American Pacific Mortgage.
So let's tell people, Chris, about your company, and also you have several locations around the Houston area.
Oh, yes. No, so we are part of American Pacific Mortgage. We are the Kelso Group, licensed in 10 states, actually. The company's licensed in all 50, but we're licensed in 10, Washington, and California, and Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, Florida. So you name it, we got some great areas out there. And, the market's a good market. It's been a good market to be in all those different areas this past couple of years, so we cannot complain.
Well, and again, we said earlier, the rates have gone up a little bit, and it seems
Just
just
a
a
slight
little
bit.
bit. What is that doing to the business right now? What are you seeing around your different locations?
The reality is individuals never have bought a home due to rates. Individuals buy homes due to lifestyle changes, right? And so, you're either moving up, you're moving down, you're moving sideways, but you're taking some type of move that you're doing. And so the reality is rates are going to continue to move up. There's no way around it right now. And a lot of those reasons because, guess what? We had something called a pandemic that took place 2 years ago, right? 2.5 years ago.
I heard.
So, yeah you lived through it, right?
I tried.
So rates were artificially deflated, I guess, in the twos, twos and low threes. So naturally what's going to happen over a period of time is the market has to end up changing. Rates have to move up. And so I've always contended that a healthy market is rates in the fives and the sixes. That is just the reality. If you go back prior to 2008, the rates were actually in the sixes and sevens. So right now we're sort of seeing that change. We're sort of seeing some movements. But again, we're not seeing individuals that are not buying homes because of rates. We're seeing individuals not buying homes because they can't find the right home. And so that's going to continue to be the case, I would imagine, for the remainder of this year and probably going into next year as well.
And in a way, that's disheartening because one of the things I do on a regular basis for my own curiosity and also being in the real estate profession is I look at homes all over the United States, little towns, the town I used to live in, big cities, San Francisco, just to see here in Houston and all that. And as of my recent search last night and even this morning, everything's pending. Almost doesn't matter what city or little town you're looking at. What's going on? I'm astounded.
It's amazing. I mean, we have offices like from Sugar Land up to Katy, up to Conroe and everything in between. And, every area right now is just absolutely packed. I mean, you go down to Sugar Land right now, go down to Riverstone, and you see that everything is sold. I mean, literally, you cannot find a home down in Riverstone. You go up to Conroe and you have the sort of the same things. You go out to Katy, you can't find inventory in Katy. The reality is one of the things that has taken place is that we have taken the first-time home buyer, the average first-time home buyer of that 150 to 250 home buyer out of the market right now. And that's a shame because one of the things that we look at actually as an organization, we talked about this the other day, is minority home ownership is at the lowest rate it's ever been in the history of the United States. And a lot of that's because you're not finding individuals that are getting into homes that are affordable nowadays. So I think that's sort of the big challenge that we all have as a real estate community, as a lending community, is what are we doing to continue to foster home ownership in minority communities, but also for some of those first-time home buyers that can't afford to have a first-time on the average price right now of $426,000, right? So we're going to start seeing some development. If you go out to some outskirts of Houston, you're going to see a lot of areas that are probably going to be redeveloped into that, 200, 250 range. But that's sort of the next big challenge that we have to do, that we have to look at as an organization. And more importantly, it's something we're looking at here in Houston.
Another thing I'm seeing in light of all the pendings I'm seeing more cases of where it says back on market. So I don't know what that part's about, where maybe people have changed their minds. I don't know, but I didn't see that, let's just say 2 months ago. But I'm seeing it now.
I would say what Jen Ray said is the following, is you always have to make sure you're pre-approved, right? And so whenever you're pre-approved, that means you've gone through everything. You've looked at an individual's W-2s and their tax returns and their income and everything that's coming in, their bank account statements. And they have a range to afford that property into some type of different range, right? And so as long as you have that, we tell everybody is when you're approved, if you're bouncing out of that contract, you're usually bouncing out of it because of something else. You got transferred, you lost your job, something else is going on. Generally speaking, those approvals, when you get them in, you have a contract, you lock in the interest rate, you have a range in which you're doing so right there. So a lot of individuals that might be backing out, and I've seen several of them here recently, a lot of times they're backing out not because necessarily rate. They're backing out because there's a lifestyle change again, and that's, guess what? We're sitting in a market here in Houston, which we have more individuals that are being moved around than ever before because we have an amazing economy. We have, I think per Ted Jones, we had like 300,000 people come in last year alone. I mean, so you look at what Houston is doing, and we're still going to maintain a very healthy market going forward. It's just a matter of sometimes you're going to have people back out of a home, and again, it's a lifestyle change.
We're talking with Chris Kelso with the Kelso Group. Chris, you have several locations. Let's tell people, is it 7?
7, that is correct.
7 locations. Where are they?
Yeah. So I've got Conroe, I've got Kingwood, I've got Cypress, I've got Katy, I've got Sugarland, I've got Memorial, and I have College Station. So those are the 7 that we have here. I've also got an office in Dallas, and we have one in Florida. We have one in Arkansas. Ben, big shout out to Ben in Arkansas. And we have
what
California.
City in Arkansas?
What was that?
Arkansas.
Bentonville.
Okay.
Bentonville, yeah. So it's pretty cool because we have a lot of exchange of information of individuals between Bentonville and Houston, especially because of Walmart, right? So it's pretty cool stuff.
Arkansas is a nice place. A lot of
It
scenery,
is.
a lot of temperate
You
seasons.
know about Arkansas.
I know a little bit about that Hot Springs Village area for sure. One of your most scenic, now I have not seen Conroe or some of the other locations, but I will tell people one of your most scenic, and you know what I'm going to say, locations is the Cypress. You're right on the Cypress Boardwalk. So if someone comes in, they want to go through the mortgage application, or they want to talk with you or one of your associates, they get to enjoy the water view right there on the boardwalk, panoramic window. It's great. I want to go there after the show. But anyway,
you have to.
it's awesome.
Exactly. You know, so one of the things our offices are all built out because our philosophy is we don't want you to come to an office and do business. We want you to come to your home and do business. So we want our offices to look like you're sitting in a kitchen, you're sitting in a den, you're sitting in a living room, and you're having that type of relationship and that type of conversation. You know, one of the things we did, we never closed down our offices. We've always been face-to-face, even over the past 2 years. And a lot of that reason is because of the way we built our offices out. You know, you've been there on a Saturday morning in Memorial, you know, which we do breakfast, and we do everything from that perspective. And same exact thing, you know, it's about getting people to come back out, getting them to come to the office. That view we have in that office is absolutely amazing with the outdoor and everything and with the view over the lake. But the reality is that, you know, I think individuals want to get back. They want to have that human interaction. They want to have that touch. You know, this weekend I took multiple applications down in Friendswood, for example, on reverse mortgages. And, you know, we don't do any of our reverse mortgages on the phone. Everything that we do is face-to-face. And so it's neat to be able to get out there, and individuals who come back into our office love to see that face-to-face and that home that we've built within our offices. Speaking
of reverse mortgages, give us a quick word on that.
Boy, I will
it's
tell
very
you,
mysterious to a lot of people.
You know,
it still is.
Yes.
Wall Street Journal just had something. I didn't bring it in here today.
Yes.
But they just had something. Did you see that article about 3 days ago? And it said something. They're new now. They're different.
Right.
They've been
Well, in 2017, what happened is they actually, you know, I tell everybody, reverse mortgage industry was ruined by Tom Selleck and William Shatner, right?
These are great actors.
Some great actors, but, you know, not meant to be selling a reverse mortgage at that time. So in 2017, they actually changed some of the rules associated with fees, loan to values, et cetera. So a reverse mortgage right now for seniors, what's the one thing that's killing everybody, right, is inflation. You go to the gas, you're filling up, it's costing you a lot more to fill up. You're going to the supermarket, it's costing you a lot more to eat. A lot of our seniors are living with a fixed income. But the one thing that they do have is a home that's paid free and clear or with a lot of equity into it. And so this is a way for us to be able to go leverage that equity. They still don't have to have a monthly mortgage payment. They can get a line of credit if they so choose, or they can get paid off of that equity. And they can actually start supplementing some of the losses they're experiencing that they can't afford anymore because of the fact is it's costing them more to live at this point. So we tell everybody reverse mortgage is a great product, one of the most misunderstood products out there. And we have a dedicated individual on my team, Kerry Cox. That's the only thing he does is reverse mortgage.
So if someone's interested and they want to see if it's not right for everybody, but if it's right for them, they could simply reach out to you.
They reach out to me or
to
anybody
Kerry.
on the team. That is correct. And so Kerry's our reverse mortgage planner. I'm also a reverse mortgage planner, but I back up Kerry. So everything that you do on our team when it comes in, Kerry will go out, visit with you face to face. He wasn't available this weekend, so I'm the one who did those this weekend, but we always make sure that we do that face-to-face because it's such a misunderstood product, and most people don't understand how it actually works or the options that exist within the reverse mortgage market.
But simply they could reach out to the Kelso Group and
Absolutely.
find out
Absolutely.
You must be
anytime.
a senior, though. Over
Must be
62?
It must be 62 or older. In the
There
state
you
of
go.
Texas, both have to be 62. So if you're married, you both, the youngest of the two, have to be 62. And it's equity based. So you, at least at 62, you have to have about 60% equity in your property. At 72, you have to have 50% equity in your property, about 1% per year. So it's a great product, absolutely amazing, and one of the best things out there.
We also want to mention, too, you're no stranger to the radio. You have a show along with Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate, he calls himself, or maybe other people do. I know he does.
He does.
Real Estate Rat Pack. They can go to realestateratpack.com. Check you guys out. You have actually a live show. You're talking to real estate, just like we do here, real estate professionals all the time. It's super fun, very informative, and there you go.
And we tell everybody, Bill, you and I,
we trade guests sometimes.
We trade guests. We trade ideas. We go back and forth. You guest host the show. It's just one of those good things. The great thing about what we both do in our respective shows is about building community. And so as long as we're always building community and having a fun time doing so, we're going to keep doing it. And you're a big part of that. I mean, you were on the Real Estate Rat Pack when we first started. You were one of the original sponsors, and then you and I actually used to do a lot of stuff with The Price of Business. Remember?
That used to be fun, too.
That used to be fun.
There was a show called The Price of Business, and that's where I was inspired to want to do this on a regular basis. And you were the first person I talked to on The Price of Business. You interviewed me.
That is correct. I remember that, yes.
And I said, hey, 8 minutes is not enough. I want to talk more, and I want to listen more, too, by the way. But that's it started like that. Super awesome.
Yep, good stuff.
Before we close the segment, Chris Kelso, what else should we know?
I would just say don't be afraid of the market. Right now you've got some great agents you can deal with. Obviously, we're speaking with Lori just now as well. Get involved in the market. One of the things actually I heard, and I'm not a big fan, so I'm not going to lie about this right here, but one of the big things that I heard the other day, and he talks about doing everything in cash all the time. We all know the famous individual we're talking about there. He had to do cash, save cash, put everything in an envelope, et cetera, et cetera. But he talked about this. The greatest investment you can still make today to counter inflation is real estate. And that is still going to be the case no matter what market you're in. It's always going to be the greatest investment you can make to counter anything, and it's the most amount of appreciation you're going to get. And guess what? The market is not going to change. People are sitting around saying, well, what happens if I wait a year? You know what's going to happen?
I'm going to wait till prices go down.
You're going to wait till prices go up, because next year, guess what? They're going to go up again, right? So that's the one thing. Make that investment.
I'm going to wait till interest rates go down.
Yeah.
See, we're hearing that stuff all the time. All you have to do is just refinance, right? If they do.
And the reality of when rates go down, you can refinance. But right now you have to buy because it's going to continue to move up.
And how can people reach you, Chris Kelso?
Absolutely. 713-256-9138. Again, that's 713-256-9138. Or you can go to yourperfecthomeloan.com and reach one with more information right there.
Chris Kelso. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with part 2 from last week, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John.
Hello, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Here we are. Part 2. People
2.
have waited all week, so let's get right to it. They want to know.
I'm sure we both received calls and calls and calls about what's he going to cover in part 2.
Only 100 emails I got, but still, they want to know.
Yeah.
They want to know.
Fantastic. No, we last week we spoke a bit about why an Arizona emissions plan for a real estate business is important. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the specifics. Some of the details that are and are not, or may not, be included in the plan in order so that if our guests, our listeners have E&O coverage, they make sure that it's a proper coverage for them. And if they don't have it and they're considering it, then they at least have an idea of some questions to ask their insurance advisor to make sure that they are ultimately properly insured.
properly insured, properly informed, and asking the right questions. If anyone ever has questions, simply Stewart Insurance, you and your team are there to answer all the questions, and they do so in a tremendous way. So,
absolutely. So the first thing to keep in mind is that, like everything in life, it varies from plan to plan, person to person, company to company. So don't assume that while each E&O plan probably has some similarities to it, and there are going to be some consistencies regardless of the insurance provider, not every plan is going to be consistent, and not every coverage is going to be consistent, because it's going to depend on the business and how much risk an insurance company feels like they're going to be taking on to provide that coverage. So that's the first thing. The real purpose, and we talked a little bit about this last week, was if you get in a situation where you have a client that feels, and this isn't a critical word, feels, like you failed to carry out your duties, or you negligent in your duties, that's when a claim's going to come about. So if they felt like that I did not do my job as a real estate professional, or I didn't do my job to the best of my abilities as a real estate professional, or maybe I didn't do the best because of a certain situation as a real estate professional, that's when a claim occurs. And that's the purpose of an errors and omissions policy, is to provide those defense costs and then some potential damages based upon those claims.
and that's why communication is so important. But as we all know, with every communication, whether business or personal, every once in a while, things are misunderstood. And thus, what you're saying, someone may feel like something wasn't done properly on your part, so there's trouble.
Absolutely.
Potential trouble.
So, so first is recognizing that. Second is understanding who's covered. So who's part of the named insured. Obviously, the individual owner of the company is going to be covered, but are your agents covered, whether they're full-time or whether they're 1099 employees? Are other staff members covered? So it's important to know who's covered in the policy, because you would hate to be in a situation where you expected your agents to be covered and they were not, or if you didn't want your agents covered, that at least you would let them know so they could have coverage on their own. So that's the first thing to take a look at. The second is what is and is not covered. So you'll see at the beginning of a plan, you'll see things that talk about what the coverage is provided. Then you'll see definitions, and following the definitions in the plan, you'll see exclusions. So that's telling you everything that's not covered. So you've got to be able to look at both to see truly what is and isn't covered, and if so, how much. Do you have environmental issues covered? So most plans will not cover if there were pollutants in the home or mold or mildew. So that coverage is probably not going to be there. However, some plans will cover if you forgot or neglected to tell an individual that there was a mold issue. So there potentially could be some coverage that way. Bodily injury. So if somebody gets hurt on your property, or somebody gets hurt on a property that you're representing. Open house. Sometimes there's coverage and sometimes there's not. So it's important to understand that bodily coverage. You mentioned open house. If you do a lot of open houses as a real estate professional, you probably want to make sure there's open house, or sometimes you'll see it called lockbox coverage. So any damages to the lockbox, potentially any damages to the property itself. So make sure that that's covered. You'll see discrimination sometimes will be covered and sometimes will not. So if somebody feels like that you did not provide them the professional services based upon a certain situation, their race or their sexual preference, they went to A&M, whatever that is.
It's a big one there.
We are always us Aggies are always discriminated against. That could come into play. So do you have that coverage? And if so, what's the limit? There are some policies that provide network information and security coverage. Not a lot of them, but there are some. So what that would do would be, if you allow data that you store that's significant for an individual to be stolen, or if you didn't protect your information system from being hacked through malware, there could be some issues there. And not a whole lot of errors and omissions plans offer that, but some do. That's a plus. So it gives you, in a sense, some cyber liability coverage. The downside is that coverage is going to take away from your liability limits. So if you do have a claim, it's going to come out of that liability limit, the amount of total coverage you have in a policy. So, but that's something to take a look at and consider.
Well, and on a different track, you mentioned the Aggies. When I got to Houston, and people, it goes back decades. I wonder, and maybe for another show, but I just wondered where that all started, where people made Aggie jokes and things like that. I find it amusing and interesting at the same time.
People make fun of things they don't understand, or
and you're an
jealous
Aggie,
of.
right?
Absolutely, yes.
A proud graduate,
proud class of '83. Yes, myself
along with
and
Ted Jones,
Dr. Ted C. Jones,
yeah.
and I are the two most famous Aggies ever to appear on Real Estate Matters.
Exactly.
At least as far as we know.
That is a fact. Now, the other thing I'm thinking of, real estate professionals, if I'm a realtor, we know that sometimes they move from one company to another, one broker to another, and things like that. I would think that if I'm going to look at moving to this brokerage over here or that, one of the questions I have as the real estate talking to the broker, I'm going to say, do you have E&O coverage, right? That would make sense for me to ask that question, or the real estate professional. And in addition, I think what you're saying here, asking the question is not enough, but to say, oh, you have it, to what extent do you have it, what's covered, what's not, I think that would come into play for me to choose who I want to be my broker.
Absolutely. I would ask that question. Like you said, I would ask what the depth of the coverage is. Am I, as an independent contractor that's your broker, covered if I'm a broker, or if I'm a realtor but I'm a full-time employee, a different type of relationship, am I covered? And then the other question I would ask is that coverage part of my employment package, or is that something that I'm going to
pay extra?
Yeah, so there are some brokers that charge an annual fee to their staff for the E&O coverage. There are some brokers that take a percentage of the commission to cover E&O fees. And there are some that don't provide it at all. I have a client that the broker that that represents her does not offer that for their team, so she has her own individual errors and omissions plan.
So if a real estate professional is listening right now and their broker does not cover them on E&O insurance, they can get it themselves?
Absolutely.
So that's an important thing too.
Absolutely.
The other thing I think that happens, not just in the real estate independent contractor world, but I've experienced this myself. Sometimes we're so focused on how much are we going to make, how many days do we get off? Now, this is a traditional job, not the realtor, that we forget about the benefits. So if I'm a realtor, a lot of times the realtor just wants to know, well, how much am I going to get? And that they forget to ask about some of the benefits that may go with it.
Absolutely.
This is a benefit.
Absolutely.
Could be.
If you've got, if you're working for a brokerage that provides errors and omissions coverage, so if you get in that situation that the coverage is going to be provided and the defense costs are going to be provided, that's just as important as working for a broker that provides education and that provides ongoing learning. I mean, it's an asset to look for. If I was a realtor and looking for a brokerage house to work for, that would be one of the things that I would look for.
In fact, if you're a broker right now and you want to enhance your coverage or get better coverage or get coverage at all,
absolutely, we can.
There you are.
Absolutely, we can work with you. So we can take a look and see, because things change. Have you had? I mean, because of the accelerated market that we've been in the last couple of years, I have quite a few candidates or clients that have seen significant growth in their business, and they've seen both gross commissionable revenue growth,
volume,
as well as volume, and as well as the number of employees that they've brought on. So those kinds of aspects have affected what their premiums are. So, what is that percent growth going to look like? And then what is that percent growth going to do to their premium? So we've had to have those conversations that, yes, your premium has gone up, but so has your business. So those are the types of questions that you need to ask your insurance advisor, so we can take a look at your existing plan based upon where your business is now and where you think it's going to be, let's say, in the next 12 months, and determine if you are properly insured, fantastic. If not, what are the things that we can do to get you there?
And what else should we know, John?
Well, if you'd like to be properly insured and all
who
that.
Wouldn't?
Yeah, who wouldn't? All that truly means is that you understand how much risk you've placed on the insurance partner and how much risk you've kept on yourself as an individual or on your company. Then we can help with that. As long as you're accepting to what that is, then in our mind, you're properly insured. And you can reach out to us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827.
I'm sitting on my porch in Clear Lake looking at the water that I just bought a home from Lori Long, I want to be properly insured. Who should I call?
You should call Stewart Insurance, or if you're in the parking lot outside of Chris's office or outside of Jen's office, and you just agreed that they're going to provide you the financing to buy that new home, then call Stewart Insurance at 866-798-2827.
Again, the number is
866-798-2827.
John Bramlett, Stewart Insurance. Thanks, John. We can hardly wait what you're going to bring forth next week.
Thank you, Bill.
I always say stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. We have two right here today, Susan Bottoms and Jennifer Bradley. Susan, welcome.
Hi, Bill. Thank you for having us.
Well, here we are. Thanks for bringing such great guests.
Oh, we love our agents and our lenders in the area. So.
And your radio family, too. Let's not forget that.
Absolutely.
Let's tell people your office that you serve is, or
Stewart
several,
Title,
actually.
Clear Lake, and I'm on Space Center, and you can contact me at 832-851-7935. Again, 832-851-7935.
And here's Jennifer Bradley. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill.
Let's tell people your office.
I am in the League City and Texas City offices. I can be reached at 281-221-1508.
And one of the reasons I say stay close to the Stewart Title Business Development Officer like you and the many that we have around the Houston area is you have such great activities, informational. People can learn. Also, they can have fun. You have like a Biz and Burgers. Do you have that at yours too, Jennifer?
I'm going to try to do one in September, but yes.
That sounds good. So people need to stay in touch. Easily go to Stewart.com. You can find out the closest office to you. And one more time, your number, Jennifer?
281-221-1508.
And Susan?
832-851-7935.
And here comes Jen Ray with Guaranteed Rate. Jen, before we close things down here at the show, let's tell people your office is, you have two, Sugarland and League City.
Sugarland,
See how much
Houston,
I remember?
and League City.
Yes. And oh, wow. So if someone wants to reach out to you to find out about a mortgage or to get prepared, what should they do?
Easiest thing to do is to call me on my cell phone, which is 678-939-6564.
Again,
that is 678-939-6564.
the energetic Jen Ray.
I love
I get
it.
energetic just talking to
Do
you.
you? It's an
Yes,
electrical vibe.
indeed. It's a vibe. And here comes Lori Long right here, RE/MAX Space Center. Here we go, Lori. We're closing things down. Let's tell people how they can reach you should they want to see waterfront property or any other kind of property in the Clear Lake area.
Waterfront, suburbs, we have it all down there in the Clear Lake area. So I'm at RE/MAX Space Center, Clear Lake, and my phone number, 832-655-2844. Again, 832-655-2844, and that's LoriLongRealty.com.
RE/MAX Space Center. Things are taken off there, I understand. Here comes Mr. Kelso, the Kelso Group. Chris, before we close things down, let's tell people how they can reach you.
You can always reach me at 713-256-9138. Again, 713-256-9138. Or you can visit us at apmortgage.com/Cypress-Texas if you want to see that beautiful office you like about right there.
I want to go back there again.
Absolutely.
Have a coffee on the deck.
Anytime. It's always available for you.
Sounds good to me. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Larry Warren, and even Justin Ramirez. We appreciate you listening to the show. Simply go to Stewart.com/radio. 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 We will see you next week. Thanks for listening.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance.